Number 2, this is Nadine's Midi Me. We call it Midi Me. It starts with a Mercedes Metris platform. This is the short wheelbase Metris. This is a passenger van. When Nadine called and she said, I found a van, they were scarce. They were hard to come by. I says, yes, grab it. Passenger van, what could the problem be? There's no problem with a passenger van. We'll work with it. We've got all this beautiful headliner. We've got all these molded panels. What I didn't realize is there are components behind all those nice panels. You've got motors for the sliding doors. You've got speakers. You've got air handling ductwork. You've got airbag curtains down both sides. Well, that turned this build into a nightmare. Why, you ask? When these things break or they need to be serviced or maintenanced and the Mercedes dealer has to get in here, how are they going to get at those components? Well, that's where the trouble came. That was the challenge. So we had to design this galley so it was removable. Not totally removable. The countertop comes out, the drawers and drawer boxes come out. I'm going to show you. This is a drawer box. This is the drawer box carcass that goes in here. Now, I'm not going to screw it all back together. I just want to show you how this works. This guy goes in next. There's some very interesting mounting work. As you can see, the back of this box cabinet has a little leg on it, because once it goes in, it's got to be supported in the back. So this goes in, goes right in place with magnets. Then the drawer goes in with the sliding utensil tray. Now, like I said, the drawer box isn't screwed down, so this may not fit just so. Okay? See, that's a little bit off because our drawer box isn't screwed down. I'm not screwing it for demonstration purposes. So now this is also very interesting. They put a spline on the bottom edge, and that fits inside the channel at the bottom here, inside the 80/20 channel, right? And that holds the entire bottom of this thing. Now listen to this. Magnets. Locks it right into place. No problem. Same thing with this guy. We have a spline on the bottom that fits in the channel, just like this. Ready? Oh, I love that. And we have these little pocket holes for your hand to fit in here to pop that out. If you have to change your filter, right? Once a year, you're going to change that sediment filter. Magnets. These are strong magnets. Believe me when I tell you. Now this carcass, this drawer box carcass goes in. And like I said, there's a little bit of finagling to do. But once you understand how it's supposed to work, it goes right in. And then this drawer goes in. Okay, bring that right back out. As you can see, this galley comes apart rather easily, and this countertop is designed so it can slide right out. The sink is screwed in from the top. These little white washers are temporary, so we don't scratch the sink. When we do it final, those will just be those little black flathead screws. Everything is siliconed in, but that sink can be removed. This countertop can slide right out. and you have access to everything in the back of the van on this side wall. Down this end, right behind the induction holster, we have our Bosch water heater. So that is going to be a very nice new improved addition to these vans. This is my evacuation valve for the gray tank. And we have a timer that you turn on, and that tank will evacuate. Timer shuts off, circuit goes down. Nice big sink, as always. That's one of my monikers in building. I like a nice big sink. And we've got the Acuva filtration system. You can see in the back there, we've got the UV light. And here is the sediment filter. We've got a HEPVO trap. Goes straight down into the gray tank, 6 gallons of gray. We've got 14 gallons of fresh. On this end of the galley is all the electronics. I try to keep the water and the electronics separate. If you see up here in this corner, you have a 3-zone plumbing manifold with isolation valves. That's designed in such a way that it's mounted with heavy-duty zip ties. If a mechanic has to get to those components behind, just cut those zip ties and lay that whole plumbing manifold down out of the way. Then we've got our 12-volt DC circuits. I brought over a main trunk line, and we branch off from there because the Metris does not have any way to get wires across. So we literally put a channel under the floor. This is a very popular floor. I put it in probably 4 or 5 of my vans. It's called Black Sheep. It started in my first build. It's beautiful. 14-gallon fresh water tank. Here's my sending unit for the water gauge. Here's my inspection hatch. And like I said, all the DC wiring. I'm a big fan of the Wago connectors. And Ron made up a couple of different types of mounting clips for the Wagos. And then our freshwater fill is on this side. Let me go show you Command Central. Over here, Command Central. This remains the same. This is a very, very tried and true tested arrangement. This is in all the Mini-Me's. It's in the Metrises as well. So you got your lights, overheads, night light. This is the water pump. This is my beautiful shelf light over there. We put in this beautiful little storage cubby shelf all the way down the back of the splash here. And we put a nice little mood light under it. Let me show you how nice that is. Ready? Let me go lights out. Over here, we got lights out. Can I reach this light from over here? Come on, go. There we go. Okay. All right, so now these are the lights in the van. Now over here, this last light, wait to see how cute this is. I got to turn out this light to show you. Okay, so generally when you're out in the field and you're living in your van, you really need to be aware of a couple of things every morning when you wake up. Do I have enough fuel? Do I have enough food? And do I have enough water to get through the day? There may be times where you're going to have to fill your water at night because you screwed up somehow and you didn't get any fresh water during the day. So you're going to fill up your water at night. Obviously, you'll have your interior lights on, but what we did is we gave you this cute little light. See this? Here's your water fill right here. This is from the boating industry. You just unscrew this cap, stainless steel cap, and you can put a hose in there, or you could put I'm going to actually develop a funnel system that clips on here because I've heard from my customers the way they fill their water tanks on these smaller vans, the Mini-Me's and the Metris Midi-Me's. They'll go to a supermarket and they'll buy jugs of water, gallon jugs, 2-gallon jugs of water, and they pour it in. I'm going to have a funnel right here that they can pour their water in. This is your gauge, the water gauge. We have a 120-volt receptacle here. We have another one down the other end. This is a 120-volt switch that we put in all of our smaller vans. When this switch is down, the receptacles, 120 volt AC receptacles, are live, and the water heater is not. The water heater. When I flip this switch up, the water heater is active and the receptacles go dead. The reason I do this is because we have a 3,000 watt inverter on board. If you were to run the water heater and something plugged into here, you will exceed the 3,000 watts that the inverter can put out. And it would shut down. You'd have to reset it. Alarms go off. I don't want that. I don't want my customers to have that kind of angst. So I put in this toggle switch. It's either or, receptacle or water, not both. You can't screw it up. So that's why that's there. And for the time being, I put little labels on here so they understand. But there's a fuzzy logic to this. Switch down to the outlet, switch up to the sink, hot water. You get it?